I want to have a richer life, and for me, that means making more in real life connections. But talking to strangers is horrifying. So, to make it a little bit simpler, I chose to attend a Pokemon Go community meetup where people, were actually there to talk to strangers, and it was about something that I was passionate about, and we all had something in common. However, once I got there, it wasn't going to be as simple as I had in my mind. When you first get to the park, there's these steps that go down. And when you're standing at the top before you actually walk down, you can see everything. And as I stood on top of those steps, looking at everyone else playing Pokemon Go, I just thought in my head, nope, this ain't happening. I'm not talking to those people. Look, those people are in their phones, they're distracted. I mean, those guys are talking to each other like they got to be friends maybe for a long time. How am I supposed to walk up there and be part of it? No, this is all overwhelming. This is bad. So I walked down the steps, turned to the left down a path that nobody's on, and for the next 2 hours, I only stay on paths that no one else is on. But at some point, I do stop. I kind of look around. It's a beautiful day. I take in the sunshine and the nature. But I ask myself, if I'm not here interacting with anyone, then why am I here at all? And in the past, I think that's a question that I would just get stuck on. I would say, I don't know why I'm here. Let's just give up. I would turn around, go home. But over this past year, I've been getting counseling. And at this time, my counselor's voice came into my head and asked me, why are you terrified to interact with anyone? To which I answered myself, I'm terrified because I'm worried that if I approach someone, they might not like me. They might think I'm a burden. They might think I'm annoying. Which the voice of my counselor came in my head and said, if someone approached you here and started a conversation with you, would you be annoyed? Would you feel that they were a burden? And I have to answer no. Because if someone approached me, I would be so happy and thankful to have a conversation. And the counselor came back in my head and said something that really changed my attitude. And he said, if there are other people who feel the same way you are here, how will you find out if you don't talk to people? And then I kind of filled in the blanks for myself on this part, but it changed my perspective because I was like, you know what? I need to start talking to people, and I need to trust that if someone doesn't want to talk to me, they'll let me know. Hopefully not rude about it, but hopefully they let me know. If they turn their back after acting friendly and then say something negative, I can't waste my energy on that. And hopefully I will be able to find the people who would look forward to a conversation with me. Because those are the people that I want to find. And that's the reason I'm here. So after this conversation with myself, I decided to leave these trails that nobody was on and go back to the main part of the park. And when I got there, I saw an opportunity. There were 3 people talking to each other, but they were talking really close to an empty bench. And so without having to go over there and immediately introduce myself or force myself in the conversation that I am not prepared to do, I was able to walk over and sit on the bench, make it clear I was playing Pokemon Go just like they were. And I eavesdropped, which I normally against eavesdropping, but I eavesdropped because I wanted to see if there was an opportunity for me to join this conversation naturally. And what I heard one of the people talking about a strategy that he was using in PvP and how he was on a win streak with it. And so when there was silence, I took my opportunity to chime in and just be supportive of him and say, hey, I heard you talking about that strategy you're using. I never even thought of that. That's awesome, and congratulations on your win streak. But as soon as I said the last word, the negative thoughts started coming into my head, and I almost wanted to just, even before he got a chance to respond, just turn around and walk away. But before those thoughts could actually complete themselves, he turned and looked at me and said, hey, thanks. I have some other strategies. You want to hear about those? That positive of a response was not even something I expected at all because I was in such a negative place. And in fact, it caught me so off guard that when he said it, I didn't actually even comprehend what he said. And my response wasn't, yes, please tell me more. It was, I'm sorry, could you repeat that? Which is embarrassing. But thankfully, he actually just repeated it again. And this time I could say, yeah, sure. And having a conversation with him, it's cliche to say, I know, that it took the weight off my chest. But really, the pressure and the stress that I had put myself under was finally not gone, but it was much less. And after that conversation, I moved on and actually introduced myself to more people and had more conversations. Not all of them went well. I did, in fact, have one person who turned away from me very quickly and kind of just walked off. But I didn't let that stop me this time because I had already taught myself into the only way I was going to find the people who wanted to talk to me is just play the numbers game and try to talk to as many people as I could. And eventually I ended up talking to some people so much that I actually learned their names. And next time I go to one of these events, I have a couple people now that I plan to approach and be like, hey, how are you? How have you been since the last time that we saw each other? And I have the date of the next event marked to my calendar to do just that.